So the National Constitution Center, we are a museum here in Philadelphia, and we're all about teaching about the United States Constitution. And that means all the years from 1787, when Washington right here was the president of the Constitutional Convention, to today. So what did it say originally in that Constitution that they wrote, that structural Constitution that we still live under today? And then all the pieces added through amendments, through court cases, and through interpretation. And how do we talk about it today? That's what we do here every day, and it keeps us on our toes. So it's very fascinating, and it goes from what you see in your life today to all the way back in 1787. My favorite part, and it usually gets like a gasp, is the moment of the signing of the Constitution, and that's the room we're in. It's the moment of the signing. It's September 17th, 1787. Most of the men in this room that were at most of the convention, it was from May 25th to September 17th. They sign it. But here's the cool part. It's not law. And this had really never happened before. They take that document, it takes them 2 days, and they get it into a newspaper and they get it out to the people. They had completely changed the way government worked by writing this document and then handing it back to the people to say, this is the best we think we can do. Do you choose to take this or do you not? It goes back to the states ratifying conventions. They have to get 9 states to ratify it, but they give it back to the people. This is the world turn zone here. It had never happened before, that the greatest minds of the country hand it back to the people so the people can decide that if this is their law. The idea of popular sovereignty is born at that moment, and it is amazing that that document just didn't become law when they signed it. It was just their vote of approval on it. That's a big deal. So it opened about 15 years ago. So we opened and we do programs at the center and across the nation, and we have a robust online education experience. So when you come here, it's like coming to Disneyland for the Constitution. You cannot miss Signers Hall. Signers Hall is a recreation of the moment of the signing of the United States Constitution. And when you're at Independence Hall, which is just 2 blocks away, you get to see the original room, and then you come here and you get to meet all the people that were in that room, where they were standing, who they talked to. You get to find out what arguments and discussions they had over the course of that summer when they were writing the Constitution, and what ideas that they had about that Constitution. You even get to meet my 3 favorite people, the Dissenters. They stayed, but they refused to sign. And they refused to sign because there was no Bill of Rights, and they thought that was very dangerous. And because they stayed and said no, and they talked about it during the ratification, we quickly added a Bill of Rights as soon as the Constitution was ratified because of those Dissenters. So you get to meet those guys. You get to meet the people behind the Constitution, and you get to get up close and personal with the men that were a part of this and find out more about how people were added to that dialogue through the amendment process and through voting and through discussions. constitutioncenter.org, that's our website. You go on there and there are tons of materials for every age group. We have an interactive constitution that lets you dive into every single section of the United States Constitution. And what we do here is we teach about the Constitution's history, but we also teach about what we all agree upon on the Constitution and where opinions diverge. So we take the top scholars on each section of the Constitution. So the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, the clauses of the First Amendment. And we say to the top scholars, you guys are ideologically opposed in your opinions, these constitutional law scholars. We want you to work together and write a joint explainer of all the things you agree upon. And then tell us where the agreement diverges. Where does the constitutional law sit on this? So when we talk about speech, what's the history of speech in America? And then where is it still unsure and unfeathered land? So really, where does it diverge? Interactive Constitution is fantastic, and we're adding videos to that so it works with different age groups, lessons and materials for classrooms, podcasts for adults and for teenagers, lots and lots of materials. But we also do our programs in cities across the country. So we might be in your backyard and you just have to keep an eye out for us. By far, Freedom Rising. So Freedom Rising is a 17-minute theater production that walks you through American history in the most spectacular way. It literally moves people to tears every single day. It happens every single day at the center, every half hour. It is a live actor. It is live sound and music, everything. It's an immersive experience and takes you from before the Constitution through the Revolution to modern times. This is an unbelievable experience experience. Sandra Dey O'Connor said it was the best 17 minutes in American history she's ever seen. So do not miss that. They're my two favorites. I do bookend them. Either way you want to do it. I start with Signers Hall and I end with Freedom Rising, or do the opposite. Begin with Freedom Rising and end with Signers Hall. But we have a ton of exhibits, interactive constitution throughout the building. We have games, we have activities, we have a Hamilton exhibit, which is fantastic right now, but we also have ways that people can engage with each other in these conversations, and quizzes and fun game shows so you can really get a part of it. And if you wanted to, you could dress up like a Supreme Court justice and go through some of the cases. So we try to make this as immersive as possible, as interesting as possible, and as fun as well.